Joe Chambers here, and welcome to Joe's Book Club. Today we are diving into Rhyme and the Runaway Twins. This is mystery number 1 in a new book series called Chicken Girls. My friend Abby and I really love going on adventures and discovering new mysteries and solving new mysteries, so I feel like this book is going to be perfect for us. So sit back, relax. Today we're going to be reading the beginning of Rhyme and the Runaway Twins. Chapter 1. The town library was a quaint brick building next to the church and across from the fire station. It had an American flag out front, and in spring and summer rows of white, pink, and blue geraniums that perfumed the stone path to the front doors. Inside, the children's section shone with primary colors and cardboard displays of literary greats like Stuart Little, Paddington Bear, and Dr. Seuss. Just behind that was the teen lounge, a few high tables, and a giant blue beanbag near the window. Beyond that was the periodical room, where Rhyme McAdams was sneezing her way through a big box of dusty archives. "Bless you, dear," Miss Sharpe said as she opened an embossed letter from that day's mail. "And bless us. I can't believe my eyes, but it looks like a donor has given a very generous contribution to the Ottawa's County Fair." Miss Sharpe was Rhyme's friend Kayla's mom, as well as the town librarian, an official Ottawa historian, though Rhyme couldn't for the life of her think of anything worth remembering about her hometown. And yet, here she was on a summer break, stuck sifting through the town's archives. A few months earlier, Rhyme had failed her school practice exam, better known as the test. In exchange for helping out around the library, Miss Sharpe had agreed to tutor Rhyme in all the subjects she'd flunked last spring. "Oh yeah?" Rhyme said, hoping the donor might distract Miss Sharpe from the impending trigonometry session. "Who sent the donations?" Rhyme asked, rising on her tiptoes to peek over Miss Sharpe's shoulder. From the desk of Silas Manderley was written curly letterhead at the top. "Nobody you'd know," Miss Sharpe answered curtly, looking up. "Are you already done with that box? Because we have a date with our good friends sine, cosine, and tangent coming up momentarily." Rhyme sighed and shook her head. It was going to be another long day. Miss Sharpe was curating an Ottawa's retrospective exhibit at the county fair this summer, and Rhyme had been tasked with reading through ancient newspapers to find the story that might be of general interest. Which was funny, Rhyme thought, considering there was absolutely nothing interesting about Ottawa then or now. 5 days a week, Rhyme sat at the same round table, facing the back courtyard, bent over a huge stack of yellowing papers. Today she wore a rose-colored summer dress and white slip-on sneakers. Her brown hair hung in 2 long braids, doe-eyed and sincere. Rhyme was often described by adults as the girl next door. Maybe it was intended as a compliment, but what Rhyme heard was young, quiet, unassuming. She had never craved the spotlight, but that didn't mean she wanted to be overlooked. And speaking of overlooked, Rhyme forced herself to focus on the task at hand. In the past few weeks, she had learned more about Ottawa than she'd ever cared to know. Fallout shelters, scandalous miniskirts, which didn't seem all that many. Someone from Ottawa who came in 10th at an international yo-yo contest. A new fondue restaurant that opened in 1974. And the basketball game versus Millwood where the marching band was suspended for performing a Beatles song instead of the national anthem. "Look at those beehives," said a voice behind Rhyme. It was Matilda, an older girl from school. Until last year, Matilda had been the editor-in-chief of the school paper. She was in her usual black overalls with a gray Ottawa High t-shirt underneath. She wore her hair loose and unstyled, constantly tucking it behind her ears as she whizzed through the Dewey Decimal System. Miraculously, Matilda actually seemed to enjoy their surroundings. "Sorry?" Rhyme asked. "That hairstyle," Matilda said, pointing at a blonde poof from a photograph of the 1967 Groovy fall ball. "Oh, right," Rhyme said, tugging at her own braids, self-consciously. She'd never heard of a beehive before. "And that's my section," Matilda said, reaching over and gathering up all of the clippings spread out on the desk. "I guess you're welcome then," Rhyme said with a weak grin. "More work for me and less work for you." "Actually, you're wrong," said Matilda, bringing the papers over to the other side of the table. "Now it's even more work for me." She scrambled around in her bag for a pen. "You totally messed up the order." "That might be a little bit of an exaggeration," Rhyme said, holding her thumb and pointer finger just a tiny bit apart. But Matilda was no longer looking at her. "Do you spend a lot of time with archival material while you're practicing your handstands?" Matilda said underneath her breath, jotting something down on her notebook. "I'm a dancer," said Rhyme, trying to make her voice as pleasant as possible. "Not a gymnast." "Whatever floats your boat." Matilda rearranged a bunch of red leather yearbooks. Rhyme sighed. This was officially going to be the most boring summer of her life. And that was chapter 1 of Rhyme and the Runaway Twins. I can't read the rest because I don't have my glasses on, so the rest is up to you.